Hey you guys, what is going on? It's Cobbs and I'm back with you for another video. So first, I want to offer a disclaimer real quick. I know my previous video on Wildcard and CurseForge and the potential of them monetizing mods was a little late to the punch. And by late to the punch, I mean they announced this mod monetization thing like months ago. I don't know what I was doing at the time that dropped in the community crunch. I think my head was in the ground. I guess that is my best guess. But thank you to everyone who reached out and let me know that they had already discussed this in a previous community crunch. I think some of the points are still valid, but again, it's kind of old news. So either way, I appreciate the support. Anyways, we've had a couple of updates in the last couple of days, like not anything super crazy or anything to write home about, but I think we're getting closer to narrowing down a potential console launch date. So I wanted to take today to talk a little more about that. So buckle up. I'm going to talk about everything I found over the last couple of days and see if we can't narrow down at least a general time frame on when we might see console launch. Before I start though, if you're enjoying the style of content and would like to see more, please drop a like, a subscribe, and all of the fun stuff. And come check me out on Twitch. I play a lot of ASA there with the community and it's honestly a blast. Anyways, that is enough of the promoting. Let's get into it. The first item I want to talk about when we even begin to approach the discussion of when console will launch is the timeline that Wildcard has set up. And by the timeline, I kind of mean the lack thereof. Let's start with the PC launch and see what we can learn from that. We know PC launched early because of the contractual obligations that Studio Wildcard had to Nitrado. And we can infer that the game probably wasn't going to be ready at launch, but to avoid a contractual mess, they went ahead and dropped it anyways. Now, about a week and a half later, coming up on a week and a half later, it's still pretty unplayable. Official servers are still dropping pretty consistently. Unofficial servers are getting there, but there's still a lot of confusion and server dropping. On top of that, mods are kind of working, but some of them really don't and are still really buggy, so it's still kind of a mess. One of the community managers recently tweeted that they were working on keeping the server stable before touching optimization. So I think we can expect better optimization later down the road, but right now their focus is on making the server stable. So because PC dropped because of the contractual obligations to Nitrado, we can imagine that the team that is working on console right now is facing similar issues in working on the game. What I'm trying to say is that although PC had to drop, console didn't. So I can imagine the team over at Studio Wildcard that is in charge of console production and game development is probably working on similar issues, but I will say they probably have a bigger task ahead of them because of the fact that they have to make the game playable on console. For PC, they can just drop it and say, hey, good luck with the graphics card. We know it's not great. We know you need a NASA computer, but that's okay. But console players can't just go out and upgrade their console. I mean, they can to the next gen, but you can't upgrade your console with a new graphics card unless I'm just really behind the curve on that. On top of that, if we look at the certification process timeline, they should be wrapping that up soon, so that is a positive when looking at the due date. Another thing to consider that I talked about a little bit earlier is that console has a completely separate team from PC working on the console game development. Cedric mentioned in a response tweet that they had put a little collage of inspiration for the team, and by the team, he's referring to the console team. So that all kind of confirms there's a console team. I don't know if this was information we already had readily available, but Dolly did say it in, I think it was a tweet or a Discord announcement, so that leads me to believe that this is in fact new information for us. And for those of you who don't know, Dolly and Cedric are community managers for Ark and are, from what I can tell, in charge of giving us updates on the game. Everyone should be really nice to them because they are not in control of where the game is and when it will launch. They are unfortunately just the messenger. Anyways, I will say in the past, it seems like both Dolly and Cedric and whoever has been the bearer of bad news has tended to be a little vague when they talk about due dates or release dates. Even the week that Steam dropped, I believe what they said is something to the effect of, it's gonna be an exciting week. Which, in hindsight, yes, it was a pretty exciting week, ASA for PC launched. But at the time, we thought that that at best meant a due date. So the fact that Dolly has said now that there are console updates coming means I think we're about to get some pretty concrete information soon. As concrete as wildcard announcements can be. Another thing that we have coming up that might impact console's launch is Extra Life. Extra Life is a huge collaborative effort on the part of many different organizations, one of which being ARC. ARC content creators come together to see how much money they can raise for the effort. The effort being Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. It's a great cause. It's honestly a lot of fun. I have a couple of people I know who will be streaming and raising money and having a crazy fun time, so I will drop their links in the description below. I will not be this year because I already asked my community for enough money with another charity event, but next year we will be raising money for Extra Life as well. Anyways, Extra Life starts November 4th. Well, it's already kind of started, but that is the day that ARC is bringing attention to the fundraising effort. It seems like in the past, Studio Wildcard has used different trailer drops or DLC map drops or things like that to bring attention to this event, usually to promote more awareness of it and to bring people in to hopefully donate. So I'm thinking that is probably what they're going to do this year. I think there's a lot of different things we could see November 4th. I think we could see Scorched Earth footage, but what I'm hoping is that we at least get some console footage or even maybe some information on what's going on and what's holding up the process. Wildcard has this history of being very vague and mysterious about what's going on with game development or their game in general, whereas I think if they were just upfront and transparent about things, the community would have a lot more empathy and understanding for them. But I think at this point, getting a due date might be a little ambitious. I think it would be awesome if we got a due date for console on November 4th, but I think it's a little ambitious. That being said, we also have a community crunch the day before Extra Life. I think that community crunch will primarily be promotion for Extra Life, but I'm hoping that maybe they'll drop some information there too. Who knows? Anyways, so two different dates we might get some information, right? November 3rd and November 4th. Again, I don't think we're going to get a due date on either of these dates, but one can hope. I think considering how long it's taken them to make PC stable, which I say how long, like PC still isn't stable after a week of the game being out, plus the fact that certification was going to take a little long for console, I think it's just too soon to get a due date for console on November 3rd or November 4th. Plus, if you think about it from a marketing perspective, having some sort of footage from the game would be a lot more exciting and would bring more people in to see the footage for Extra Life than just dropping a date. Granted, maybe if they show footage or screenshots or anything, maybe they'll slip the date in there somewhere, but I think it's unlikely. Lastly, the thing to consider in terms of a timeline is the Arkathon Mod Contest. The Arkathon Mod Contest is a mod contest that CurseForge has promoted as coming soon. The idea is that they're going to give away a massive amount of money to creators who are actively producing mods for the community. I'm not sure how they will decide who wins or who loses, but that's a them thing. What's interesting though is that CurseForge is holding a creator town hall on November 20th. My best guess is that this will be used to either discuss or launch the Arkathon Mod Contest. And if we assume that they want as many people in the community playing and testing these mods as possible, then console would have had to have launched by November 20th. I mean, the big pull of CurseForge's partnership with Studio Wildcard was making mods cross-platform and allowing cross-modding play. So if they're going to, at the least, talk about and introduce this super crazy, exciting, fun modding contest to bring people in and make people aware of this partnership and to get the modding community for ASA going, would you not want a huge portion of your player base that has been brought to this game because of the modding capabilities to be able to play the game by then? Granted, I don't know what the agreement looks like between Studio Wildcard and CurseForge. Unfortunately, I couldn't really track down any legal documents for that particular partnership. So I don't know what timelines they have all committed to, but if we're going to use logic and reasoning, I think they would want console launched by November 20th, or by the time they launch this Arkathon Mod Contest. So that's all to say. I don't think we're getting it early November, but I do think mid-November is probably a good guess. Before November 20th at the least. November 20th is a Monday morning. I don't think launching it the Friday before November 20th would be enough time for console players to really get up to speed for the full modding capabilities. So my official guess is November 10th. Or if ASA is still going to stick with this Wednesday middle of the week launch date, then I would guess either November 10th or November 15th. I think Friday makes a lot more sense for a launch date, but maybe that's why I don't work at Studio Wildcard. Anyways, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I know there wasn't a lot of concrete information I was able to bring to you in this video, but hopefully you followed my line of thought, and if you disagree, let me know. Or if you agree, let me know. Let's have a discussion about it in the comments. Anyways, like I said at the beginning, if you don't mind, please drop me a like, subscribe, a comment, all the fun things. It really goes a long way for the channel, and I really appreciate it. And if you had fun and you want to have even more fun, come hang out with me on Twitch. We have a really good time. We have an ASA community server, and we would love to have you. Anyways, again, that is all I have for you. Please remember to be nice to the community managers. Do not shoot the messenger, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!